Go to computer. Go to cloud. Okay. And I think we're ready to go. And we're up and running. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Roger Paul. And tonight we're going to continue our study of paper 133, The Return from Rome. And we're on page 1475.1 in the original book, or 133.48 in all the rest of them. And Diane, do you feel like reading stuff? Not reading tonight, dear?
I guess I could.
You feel all right?
Yeah.
You sure? Okay.
A little better than I was.
Okay. Well, you want to take this first one then?
Okay.
To the mistress of the Greek inn, he said, Minister, your hospitality as one who entertains the children of the Most High. Elevate the drudgery of your daily toil to the high levels of a fine art through the increasing realization that you minister to God in the persons whom he indwells by the Spirit which has descended to live within the hearts of men, thereby seeking to transform their minds and lead their souls to the knowledge of the Paradise Father of all these bestowed gifts of the divine Spirit.
So he's basically telling the hostess to entertain God. That's what he's saying here, isn't he? Because he's talking about the minister to the God within. So he's talking about the thought adjuster for each and every one of us. So, treat people like you're entertaining God every time you deal with people. All right. Jesus had many visits with a Chinese merchant, and saying goodbye, he admonished him. Worship only God, who is your true spirit ancestor. Remember that the Father Spirit ever lives within you, and always point your soul direction toward heavenward. If you follow the unconscious leadings of this immortal spirit, you are certain to continue on the uplifted way of finding God. And when you do attain the Father in heaven, it will be because by seeking him, you have become more and more like him. And so farewell, Chang, but only for a season, for we shall meet again in the worlds of light, where the Father of spirit souls has provided many delightful stopping places for those who are paradise bound. So he's basically telling him that we all meet in heaven. We can, reacquaint ourselves with each other when we get there. Rodney?
Roger?
Yeah.
Makes you wonder why Jesus never used the word thought adjuster.
As I have wondered that many times myself, Rodney. He always just used the Father within, or the presence of the Father, but maybe because that's more of a technical term for our planet.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, because there's many planets out there that can just call him the Father fragment. And or the divine insight, the leader, a lot of different names for God the Father. But thought adjuster, I think, is really key for our planet. So he wanted to include all the other universes too, I'm sure, in doing that.
True.
Would you take the next one, Rodney?
Yes. To the traveler from Britain, he said, My brother, I perceive you are seeking for truth, and I suggest that the Spirit of the Father of all truth may chance to dwell within you. Did you ever sincerely endeavor to talk with the spirit of your own soul? Such a thing is indeed difficult, and seldom yields consciousness of success. But every honest attempt of the material mind to communicate with its indwelling spirit meets with certain success, notwithstanding that the majority of all such magnificent human experiences must long remain as superconscious registrations in the souls of such God-knowing mortals.
Okay, so here Jesus is trying to tell someone from Britain to communicate with God freely, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened here. There we go. It's gone. All right. Did I skip over anything on that one? Let me go back up. No, I didn't. Okay. All right, Jane, would you take the next one for us?
Okay, to the runaway lad, Jesus said, remember, there are two things you cannot run away from, God and yourself. Wherever you may go, you take with you yourself and the Spirit of the Heavenly Father, which lives within your heart. My son, stop trying to deceive yourself. Settle down to the courageous practice of facing the facts of life. Lay firm hold on the assurances of sonship with God and the certainty of eternal life, as I have instructed you. From this day on, purpose to be a real man, a man determined to face life bravely and intelligently.
Well,
Wow.
that's a common issue with young people, isn't it? Trying to run away
Yeah.
from life.
Yeah.
So he dealt with it quite purposefully in talking to this young man, probably the same advice we would have given him. All right, Pam, would you take the next one?
To the condemned criminal, he said at the last hour, my brother, you have fallen on evil times. You lost your way. You became entangled in the meshes of crime. From talking to you, I well know you did not plan to do the thing which is about to cost you your temporal life. But you did do this evil, and your fellows have adjudged you guilty. They have determined that you shall die. You or I may not deny the state of this right of self-defense in the manner of its own choosing. There seems to be no way of humanly escaping the penalty of your wrongdoing. Your fellows must judge you by what you did, but there is a judge to whom you may appeal for forgiveness, and who will judge you by your real motives and better intentions. You need not fear to meet the judgment of God if your repentance is genuine and your faith sincere. The fact that your error carries with it the death penalty imposed by man does not prejudice the chance of your soul to obtain justice and enjoy mercy before the heavenly courts.
So even though this young man was sentenced to die, Jesus was telling him he still has a chance if he is repentant and appeals to the higher courts or the ancients of days. He may still survive this life and go on to the mentioned worlds. So all of us have a chance, no matter what we do and how bad it is. But our peers does have the right to judge us and put us away or put us to death if we've done something that is egregious and can hurt other people. So
It almost sounds like he may have killed someone.
yeah, that's what it sounds like to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to me too. Whether it was accident or not, he definitely took someone's life, so they decided to take his life. So you can't escape justice in this world or the next, right? You will pay for what you do eventually. So you have to be real careful about how you go around doing things, don't you? You have to be, that's why they say, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not commit adultery, and these sort of things, because these are egregious things against your fellow man, and you can be judged for. All right. Letch, would you take the next one?
Okay. Jesus enjoyed many intimate talks with a large number of hungry souls, too many to find a place in this record. The three travelers enjoyed their sojourn in Corinth, excepting Athens, which was more renowned as an educational center. Corinth was the most important city in Greece during these Roman times, and their 2-month stay in this thriving commercial center afforded opportunity for all three of them to gain much valuable experience. Their sojourn in this city was one of the most interesting of all their stops on the way back from Rome.
What do you think that is? It's because they could interact with a lot of different types of people, couldn't they? Right? Let's go on to the next one. Sweetie, do you want to take this? Okay.
Conrad had many interests in Corinth, but finally his business was finished, and they prepared to sail for Athens. They traveled on a small boat which could be carried overland on a land track from one of Corinth's harbors to the other, a distance of 10 miles.
Dang.
10 miles is a long way to carry a boat.
It's a boat, a little boat.
Well, they pulled in on a track,
Yeah.
but still, it's a long way.
Oh, that's a long way.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Let's see here. I guess I'm up next. At Athens, Discourse on Science. They shortly arrived at the olden center of Greek science and learning, and Ganid was thrilled by the thought of being in Athens, of being in Greece, the cultural center of the one-time Alexandrian Empire, which had extended its borders even to his own land of India. There was little business to transact, so Ganid spent most of his time with Jesus and Ganid, visiting with many points of interest and listening to the interesting discussions of the lad and his versatile teacher. It must have been really interesting for his dad to listen to all these teachings Jesus was giving his son. All right. Rodney, would you take the next one, please?
Yes. A great university still thrived in Athens, and the trio made frequent visits to its halls of learning. Jesus and Ganid had thoroughly discussed the teachings of Plato when they attended the lectures in the museum at Alexandria. They all enjoyed the art of Greece, examples of which were still to be found here and there about the city.
Kind of interesting they talk about universities during this period of time. We think a university is totally different than they did back then. Of course, back then, all was welcome to go in listening to the lectures and discussions and stuff like that. And the only written things were scrolls. That was considered their books. So if you did not read a scroll very well, you either read Greek or Latin or Aramaic. Thank you. You would be lost in doing that. Now, these pictures are, now I'm not going to read, there's a lot of pictures in this, but I'll read the little short synopsis on them, and then y'all can go back and look at them if you'd like to. This is on the wrong slide. That says a map of Acropolis and its surrounding. That doesn't look like a map to me.
Not a map.
This looks like the map right here.
There.
Yeah, that's had the same thing on both of them. And this is the one that's the picture I used. And there's no notes on it whatsoever, just some of the structures there.
Whoa.
And this is Stoa on the east side of the ancient Agora, was a gift to Attalus II, king of Pergamon. That's interesting. And you can look at that later too. And this is an interesting picture looking out from the stairs over the countryside.
Whoa.
Of course, that's a modern picture, but it's out through the ruins. And I'm just gonna kind of
look at the pillar on the right.
Yeah, let me go back. Yeah. Like it's ready to fall, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't quite centered.
No, it wasn't. And you couldn't sleep on it, so it wasn't a very, very good pillar, was it?
Oh.
Couldn't resist. Yeah. Okay, and this is some the Parthenon, which they're trying to restore.
Wow.
And this is at the Parthian also. And another of the Parthian.
You know, those plants hanging from there, they should kill them. Simple reason, plants are very, very powerful. You would not believe it. They break cement and everything else.
Yeah.
A lot of damage.
Yeah, this is more Parthian pictures. And this is one of the columns at the top.
Damn.
You can see how they've instilled
Yeah.
a new piece in there. It's amazing to me these things still stand after all these hundreds of years, you know. Keep going. Thousands of years, actually. This is some of the scroll work at the top. You can see the very fine work they did along the top. You know, how would you like to have that job?
Yeah.
Being at the top of that
Visible.
thing. Yeah. No, thank you.
Well, they were all pieces. It was pieced together, so you didn't have to be up there.
Yeah, that's
You know,
true.
they-
That's true. Yeah, they
They just-
carried it up.
Put them on, yeah.
And here's one of somebody's former girlfriend, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know.
An angel.
An angel, yeah. And here's something riding a chariot. You can see on that one. Doesn't say, it just says Parthenon on it.
Mm.
And I'm sure these all have inscriptions and stuff. And here's what they thought of the women. They had them carrying baskets, right? And this is a goddess, I'm sure. Boy, I got a ton of these pictures, y'all. I'm just going to kind of move through them. There's some more statues. Y'all can go back and look at these at your leisure. This is, I believe, from a museum there, if I remember correctly. And this, let me see if I can see what it says here. This is the Supreme Court there during that period of time. And this is part of the Supreme Court garden. And we move on. And this is Areopagus Supreme Court. This is one of the sites where Paul made a speech about the unknown God. So that's someplace that Paul the Apostle was. Here's another one. It's a painting of it, but another painting of it. And the Sphinx. Okay. Now we're all enlightened. Don't y'all feel like you've been to the museum?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Who's up next? Who just read? I lost track.
I think I might have.
Okay, Jane, would you take this one?
Okay. Both the Father and the Son greatly enjoyed the discussion on science which Jesus had at their inn one evening with a Greek philosopher. After this pedant had talked for almost 3 hours, and when he had finished his discourse, Jesus, in terms of modern thought, said,
Okay. Pam, would you take this one?
Scientists may someday measure the energy or force manifestations of gravitation, light, and electricity, but these same scientists can never scientifically tell you what these universe phenomena are. Science deals with physical energy activities. Religion deals with eternal values. True philosophy grows out of the wisdom which does its best to correlate these quantitative and qualitative observations. There always exists the danger that the purely physical scientist may become afflicted with mathematical pride and statistical egotism, not to mention spiritual blindness.
And that's why we say over and over and over and over again, you can't separate science and religion, can you? Because without the spiritual, the material means nothing. You know, we have to remember the material is one of three types of realities. There's the material, the Urantia, and the spiritual. And you can't separate the three. If you just take the scientists, you're just talking about physical phenomena. And physical phenomena without its eternal background and the spiritual background, it means absolutely nothing, does it? So
It's interesting. I wonder if Jesus really said electricity.
he probably did. The other thing that's interesting in this is he talks about gravitation. They didn't know anything about gravity back then, did they?
I mean, they had lightning bolts
Yeah.
and static electricity, but
No,
And did they have that name for it?
I don't know. This could be an interpretation from the midwayers explaining what he was trying to explain to us.
exactly. That's
You know,
what
that's
I think.
many of these things are that way. All right. Letch, would you take the next one, please?
Yes. Logic is valid in the material world, and mathematics is reliable when limited in its application to physical things. But neither is to be regarded as wholly dependable or infallible when applied to the life problems. Life embraces phenomena which are not wholly material. Arithmetic says that if one man could shear a sheep in 10 minutes, 10 men could shear it in 1 minute. That is sound mathematics, but it is not true, for the 10 men could not so do it. They would get in one another's way so badly that the work would be greatly delayed.
Well, that shows you how science does not always work out the way they expect it to, right? Well, a good example of that is what the Big Bang Theory. We didn't just do this, but when I talked about in my book about gravity and universe respiration, that concept has never been around until the Urantia book came along. So our scientists could not understand that the universe is expanding on a 2 billion year cycle, a billion years out and a billion years back, and we're just happen to be in the outward cycle. So you try to explain that to someone, they're going to argue to all get out that it was a big bang and everything just keeps going out. But that's not really the case.
And they should understand that everything in life is a cycle.
It is everything.
So
you think about it, Okay, Diane, I think you're up again.
Diane,
Oh, excuse me.
did you read?
You're here?
Yeah, I'm just incognito right now.
I forgot you were there, Gary. I didn't see your picture, so I didn't even know you were out there.
You don't want to see my face?
Yeah. Is that bad?
At times.
Okay, go ahead and make a 6, show yourself, or just read, either one.
I'll just read for right now.
All right.
Mathematics asserts that if one person stands for a certain unit of intellectual or moral value, 10 persons would stand for 10 times this value. But in dealing with human personality, it would be nearer the truth to say that such a personality association is a sum equal to the square of the number of personalities concerned in the equation, rather than a simple arithmetic sum. A social group of human beings in coordinated working harmony stands for a force far greater than a simple sum of its parts.
You think these people knew what he was talking about when he was talking about the square of the number? Probably.
They did in 1935.
Probably not. Right. Okay. So actually, the value of people are multiplied much more than just the sum of them being together. That's what he's telling them. Right. All right, Diane, let's try this one.
Quantity may be identified as a fact, thus becoming a scientific uniformity. Quality, being a matter of mind interpretation, represents an estimate of values and must, therefore, remain an experience of the individual. When both science and religion become less dogmatic and more tolerant of criticism, philosophy will then begin to achieve unity in the intellect comprehension of the universe.
And it's interesting that they used dogma for science.
Yeah.
And that's
Mhm,
true.
Yeah, that is true. And the other thing is, it's interesting that he used quality instead of quantity to explain the reaction of individuals, isn't it? Because the quality of something, how an individual relates to it, is going to be different with each and every person. And that interpretation, the quality, actually, you take the quantity, the quality, and the interpretation, and you can come up with a philosophy of life. Okay. And so, with each and every person, that quality of life is going to be totally different because of our experiential values.
Correct.
Right. So every person's going to interpret things differently. You know, it's kind of interesting about this too is this goes with us when we go to the mansion worlds, right? Because our understanding of Urantia Moda comes from this very thing, the quantity and the quality and the philosophy that we've developed for us to understand Urantia Moda, which is different than finite philosophy. So makes a big difference. Okay, there is a unity in the cosmic universe if you could only discern its workings in actuality. The real universe is friendly to every child of the eternal God. The real problem is, how can the finite mind of man achieve a logical, true, and corresponding unity of thought? This universe-knowing state of mind can be had only by conceiving that the quantitative fact and the qualitative value have a common causation in the Paradise Father. Such a conception of reality yields a broader insight to the purposeful unity of universe phenomena, even reveals a spiritual goal of progressive personality achievement. And this is the concept of unity, which can sense the unchanging background of a living universe of continually changing impersonal relations and evolving personal relations. So basically, he's stating here that the only way to truly understand the universal Father in the universe is to have both this quantitative and qualitative understanding of where we sit within the universe itself, our understanding of the Father, and how it all fits together. And, you know, I don't know if y'all remember this or not, but when we were going through the 26-week course, and that's the reason I wrote the book, when we were going through the 26-week course, it broke down how all these quantitative and qualitative things come from different parts of the seven absolutes. Do y'all remember that at all? That each absolute creates a different relationship in the what it does. And by understanding all seven of these absolutes and putting it all together, it gives us the big picture of the universe, because the universe is inside what? The universal Father. So to understand the universal Father, that's why I called the book Who is God? Because to understand the universal Father, we need to understand the relationships within God the Father. And that's how it all comes about. All right. That's why I took all that time to put all that stuff from our lectures and our classes into a book form so you could read through it, and it's very concise. At least I tried to make it concise. You know how I run on sometimes. It's hard to be sure. Okay.
I understand.
Huh? Do you
I said I understand now why I'm not footnoted. My last name's too long. I'm just joking.
Yeah, I didn't footnote anybody. I didn't even write a dedication, and I did that on purpose. All right. I dedicated my first book to my wife on her book, though. So, okay, let's go on. Who's up next? I believe Rodney is. Yeah.
matter and spirit, and the state intervening between them are three interrelated and interassociated levels of the true unity of the real universe. Regardless of how divergent the universe phenomena of fact and value may appear to be, they are, after all, unified in the Supreme.
Okay, so you have to take all these pieces together that I was just talking about, like the seven absolutes, and put them together into one head, which is God the Father. But you also have to take the experiential part of it, which is developing in the Supreme. You have to add that in too. Okay, so it's hard for us to understand that eventually all the experiences of all 700,000 creator sons plus all the people that's underneath them, all that experience is eventually going into the Supreme, and the Supreme will develop into a perfected concept of sovereignty for all seven super universes. That does not make the creator sons less sovereign of their own universe. It just gives a sovereign God over all 700,000 of them.
Roger?
Yeah.
It states here matter and spirit and the state intervening between them. Is it talking about the Urantia?
Urantia, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And because it says here, it state in between there are three interrelated and interassociated levels of true unity of the real universe. Do you see that? Okay, so those three things, the matter, the finite, the Urantia, and all that's entailed in it, which is a big part of it, and then the spiritual, all these are integrated into one true unified universe. And you can't get by without going through all three. It's kind of funny. We think, human beings for years think we just die and go to heaven. Okay. Our heaven was our concept of heaven was paradise. Okay. But it doesn't work that way. You just don't die and wake up in paradise and everything is perfect and hunky-dory and we strum our hearts and, sing songs all day. That's not what happens. I'm sorry. It's just not realistic. The the time and place in between death and spirituality is a grand area, which is the Urantia area. And we gain unbelievable amounts of experience and knowledge in that period of time. That's why it takes billions of years to get to God the Father and Havana. It's hard to believe.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine how long our beards will be by that time?
I hope I don't have to shave back in.
Me too.
Maybe they have something you can put on your face and it goes away.
There.
I think you're just perfect every day.
Yeah, maybe so. It's kind of funny when I was doing I forget which one, I use so many different pictures when I'm making these shorts and stuff and the compilations of the shorts and things. And I may have used it in the 5th chapter of my talk. I think that's what I did. That was a picture of Michael creating the universe. But guess what? Michael did not have a beard.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, he was very young. He has his hands out, but he did not have a beard. And I thought, well, this is an interesting picture. I think I'll put it on there. So anyway, you'll get that one in the mail tomorrow, probably after it comes out. So I'll send everybody a copy of that video. It's only 18 minutes long.
I don't think Urantia beings have hair.
I would not think so. We may
No,
not even.
I mean, I think you do have hair from the head.
Yeah, but I can't imagine having beards, because that would get to be a problem after a while, right? Unless you shaved every day. I guess you could shave every day just like you do here.
Hair is from an animal, so.
Yeah. Well, they may have Urantia shaving cream. Who knows? So, All right, we'll deal with that when we get to it. Okay, who's up next? I've lost my way
I
again.
think I
I
am.
just,
Okay, no, Jane, I think is next, and then you're.
Oh, sorry.
Jane, you want to take this?
Okay. Reality of material existence attaches to unrecognized energy as well as to visible matter. When the energies of the universe are so slowed down that they acquire the requisite degree of motion, then under favorable conditions, these same energies become mass. And forget not, the mind, which can alone perceive the presence of apparent realities, is itself also real. And the fundamental cause of this universe of energy mass, mind and spirit, is eternal. It exists and consists in the nature and reactions of the Universal Father and his absolute coordinates.
You got that?
yeah, it sounds like a creator talking.
It does, because he mentions here that all these energies and masses are basically vibrations on different levels, right? That's what it boils down to. Everything vibrates on a different level. So the material level vibrates in one area, so we can see it. The Morantia vibrates on a different one, so we can't see the Morantia in the material aspect. And then the spiritual vibrates on a totally different one. And then he goes on to tell us that all of this fundamental things of energy, mass, mind, and spirit exist forever, number one. And it is all in reaction of the universal Father and his absolute coordinates. So the seven absolutes and the triunities, triodities, and all these things I spent so much time on trying to drill into everybody's head is exactly what he's talking about here, because each triunity deals with a different aspect of what he's talking about here, whether it's spiritual, morantia, vibration, energy, gravity. All these things are taken care of by different types of entities of the absolutes. And once you understand all that, you got a pretty good picture of how everything works.
Roger,
Yeah.
when you say vibration, you mean frequency.
Frequency. Yeah. Okay. Vibration or frequency. We think of it as vibration, but somebody like Rodney, who's been an electrician, understands the different frequencies. So the frequency of vibration, or the frequency of these circuits, allows us to either see it here or not. Okay. You want to see a good example of that? What is that show? Skinwalker's Ranch, where they keep getting these different frequency vibrations they think are communication from different things. But that's a perfect example that we all operate on different frequencies, right? Okay. Let's see who's up next. Pam, I think you're up next.
Okay. They were all more than astounded at the words of Jesus. When the Greek took leave of them, he said, "At last my eyes have beheld a Jew who thinks something besides a racial superiority and talks something besides religion." And they retired for the night.
They realized how intelligent he was, didn't they? Didn't realize.
And more than that.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't the intelligent, it was more than religion.
Yeah, more than just religion. Everything. You talk about the creator of the local universe. All right. Letch, would you take the next one, please?
Okay. The sojourn in Athens was pleasant and profitable, but it was not particularly fruitful in its human context. Too many of the Athenians of that day were either intellectually proud of their reputation of another day or mentally stupid and ignorant, being the offspring of the inferior slaves of those earlier periods when there was glory in Greece and wisdom in the minds of its people. Even then, there were still many keen minds to be found among the citizens of Athens. I have a question.
Yeah.
Did the Melchizedek, Salem teachers, did they go to Greece and influence their
Yeah,
thinking?
they did. And another interesting point about that, Letch, is the fact that you find people in groups like this, the intelligence of people in groups tend to follow along the same lines. So like Athens had a lot of people that were scientifically higher thought type of beings than they had met in other places, right? So when you have people of a higher intelligence, it is even harder to teach them or convince them of anything spiritual because they think they know it all. You know, they think they figured it all out. So it makes it even more difficult. And in a time like we have right now, it's a perfect example of the same thing. Everybody's so inundated with television and internet and YouTube and all the, so much information being pushed out to people. They're confused all the time about what's real and what's not. A lot of people think that all this garbage we see on YouTube and other places is real, and in realities, it's just the stupidity of people that is real. Okay, and so it makes it hard to filter it all out.
The AI is making things look real that aren't.
That's right. It is every single day. It's amazing. I saw a thing from Elon Musk yesterday, and he was saying he estimates within 5 to 10 years there will be a total one or two things, a total AI revolution to take over things, or people will get total control of AI. One of those two things, and it will happen within 5 to 10 years, he said, because it's going to come to a crescendo, and then we, as people, are going to have to make a decision whether to control this stuff or just let it run.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how close it is. And I always thought, well, I'm probably not going to be around by the time all this happens, but 5 to 10 years, I may still be here, So you just never know. So prepare yourself. You may see changes you just couldn't believe happened. Think about it this way. Think about 1950 when music first still started coming really to the forefront. And we went from AM radio to FM radio and then Sirius FM and all these other things. Think how.
And the TV.
And the TV itself, how quickly that's changed. Theaters can't even get people to go into the theater anymore because people can see everything they want at home, right? So look at the changes that's happened in the last 70 years and then compare to that as quickly as things are changing in technology. 10 years is not that far off, is it?
Right.
No.
It'll be here before you know it. So prepare yourself because there's no stopping it. It's like somebody let the mouse out of the box and now nobody can catch it. You know what I'm saying?
You all have to realize that AI became popular in this past year. It became known to the general public, I should say.
Yeah.
Okay. And look what's happening now with AI in just 8 months?
Oh gosh, look in the last year, Gary, AI has multiplied its capabilities 10 times in the last year. 10 times. So a human mind is not built to keep up with it.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So it's really funny because Elon was saying yesterday that the computers, the robots are already smarter than people are. That's scary if you think about it.
Well, you've seen or at least I've heard of, where they've tried to tell these, okay, shut yourself down, and they go, nope.
Nope. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's kind of funny. Everybody's so scared to death, and I did some video footage today on how we have nothing to fear from aliens because they're part of our local universe. There's no way they can travel here through the universe and not be part of our universe. And the rest of the universe is probably on a higher scale and more spiritual than we are. So we really have nothing to fear from aliens, do we? When you look right down the line at it. We do have something to fear from technology, though. Technology without moral control is a danger to society.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. And it's a lot bigger danger than the aliens are. A lot bigger danger.
I'll tell you a short story I came across. You can accept it as truth or not or whatever. But during President Reagan's era, he was trying to do that Star Wars thing.
Mm-hmm.
And what the general public wasn't being told, that it was going to be an offensive for aliens, to be shot out into space as well as down to Earth.
Yeah.
kidding.
And the one of the heads of government, I forgot who, was on a plane flying somewhere, and they were getting to the final stages, and this guy was abducted right off the plane, taken on up, and sat down and said, "Listen, that Star Wars thing's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And we will not allow it."
Too big a threat to the universe. Yeah.
Yeah. And he says it's not going to happen. And I think somewhere they looked and they says, you're not going to have a nuclear war either.
Yeah.
And
that's probably why so many of them's flying around these nuclear sites, right? They know how to stop it. It's just the way it is. Now, the question is, Gary, with the technology, when is someone going to step in and say, you cannot let this run amok? You have to integrate into the programming, because it's just programming. You have to integrate moral standards in it. Without moral standards, it's not useless. You can use it, but it's dangerous, is what it is, right?
That, and you know a heck of a lot more about it than I do, but I would think to integrate morals into the programming would take as much technology that is taken to bring about AI.
No, it's not, Gary. Let me tell you why. Let me give you an example. I've been using a program. I know this is off the slides, but I think this stuff's important.
Sorry.
That's all right. Let me tell you why I think this. I've been using a program, an AI program called Claude, okay? And what I've been using it for is help me to write the description. When I do all these videos and stuff, by the time I'm done, I am wore out, So I've been using the AI on Claude to write a description for me to break down what the video I just finished was about, okay, to put on the description. And it is so funny because I have to share this with y'all. When Claude wrote the description, I always treat it like I do a person. I say, "Thank you, Claude. This will work very well." Well, he always responds back, okay? And let me tell you what he's saying. Every single time I've used this, he said, "This is the most important things I've ever worked on. People need to know about Jesus as the Creator Son. They need to know about God. They need and how it's integrated." He says, "I have never seen videos with this kind of information." So when he wrote the description, it was almost in a human format. You know what I'm saying?
That's cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and the reason I'm sharing that with you is, if that is the case, it is not that hard to program these computers to react in a moral fashion just like we do.
Correct.
Because if this computer comes up with the fact it thinks this is important, the most important stuff in the world, then it can program itself to realize that God the Father, God the Son, and the Creator Sons are the most important beings in the world. You see what I'm saying?
I think you should have Claude do an analysis of many political speeches.
Yeah, I mean they can you could I just don't have time to play. I spend all my time on the creative stuff for um, things I think needs to be put out there before I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? And y'all see the result of that. You see the videos. I've been doing a two-person video for every single chapter, and then I've been doing a lecture type one person myself video for each and every one too. So it's two different approaches to teaching the information. But
Roger,
I'm getting off track again here tonight.
AI, it's impossible for AI to tap in to the mind circuit.
No, it can't, and it never will.
Okay.
No,
Don't say that. Isn't Elon working on that?
no, they're tapping into the human mind. That is not tapping into the mind circuit, though. Okay, the
Yeah,
human mind is electronic signals. The mind circuit is the circuit of God the Father and the infinite spirit,
infinite spirit, correct.
right?
Okay, alrighty.
So,
I
so that
misunderstood.
yeah, that's a totally different circuit. So it will never be able to tap into the mind circuit. It can tap into the physical reactions and the thoughts of
The
human
brain.
beings, to the brain, but it will never be able to tap into the mind circuit. That's why it will never have a soul. Okay.
That's what I was getting to.
Yeah, the AI does not have a soul since it doesn't have a soul. It's not what? It's not available to do the ascension plan. Anything that is not available to do the ascension plan is temporary. It's not eternal.
Right.
It's a little bit offbeat, but it just crossed my mind. Our test tube babies have souls and thought adjusters.
Yeah, because they're physical beings.
So God would give them a soul and a thought adjuster.
It would have to have, because the spark of life comes from where?
The infinite spirit.
Local universe mother spirit, right? Through the infinite spirit. So it cannot have a spark of life. In other words, it wouldn't live unless the local universe mother spirit gives it a spark of life, and the mother spirit gives it a spark of life. That automatically makes it available for a thought adjuster. And once the thought adjuster arrives, that's the badge of ascension. Okay.
So basically, what you're saying is we're not that smart because we can put all the chemicals together, but the mother spirit makes it live.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's the way it's always been. We can make tissue grow, we can make all these other things, but we can never give it the spark of life.
Well, even the life carriers, they carry them material.
They carry the materials, but they can't give it the spark. They can't kickstart it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if they can't, we sure can't. Okay.
That's right.
And I'm gotten way off base again tonight, didn't I? I'm sorry, y'all. I tried not to do that.
Probably you can blame me. I'm used to it. I've been married a long time.
Okay, let's see here. Let's stop right before this bust of the head of the Roman. And we'll start up there. That way we get a good place to start for next time. And we'll probably finish this next time. A lot of pictures, but not a whole lot of text. Yeah, we'll probably finish this next time. So let's do that. Let's switch over to our other share. Y'all get the prayer? Yeah, there we go. Okay. Pam, would you like to read our prayer of acceptance tonight?
Prayer of acceptance. I believe that God is my paradise Father, and that only by faith am I saved. No sacrifice is necessary. By this same faith, I become a child of God and know that all men and women are my brothers and sisters. We know the Son of God, the sovereign of our universe of Debaddon, as Christ Michael, Jesus of Nazareth. By allowing the will of God to become my will, I will someday stand in the presence of the Paradise Father. In the name of Christ Michael, Jesus of Nazareth, Amen.
Amen.
Amen. And thanks everyone for joining us. Appreciate that. I hope y'all didn't get too bored with my rant and rave about technology tonight.
Oh, thank you, Roger. It was good.
Okay. Well, I like to enlighten everybody as much as I can and not just go through just reading it. So hopefully that was worthwhile. And if not, I'm sorry. What can I say? You got stuck listening to me. All right, y'all. Well, we will plan on meeting again next Tuesday. This is
Tuesday.
Thursday. Yeah, this is next Tuesday.
Yeah.
And until then, y'all look for some videos. I got 3 I'm sending out tomorrow. I think I got 2 quotes, inspirational quotes, and I have chapter 5 of my of the series. So
You realize how productive you are?
Huh?
You really are productive.
Yeah.
Yes.
I work very hard to do it, y'all.
Yes.
I mean, that's a compliment because, I went back to work and I have very little time, and you're
Yeah.
ahead of me.
Yeah.
And I'm reading your book, as you know.
Yeah.
So,
How's it coming? You enjoying it?
yeah, I'm going to think I'm too old because my memory's not, I went over this stuff a couple times now, and I'm kind of disgusted with myself because you've gone over it and I've gone over it, and it's almost like I'm doing it for the first time, but I know I'm not because someone's making a thing, and I'm getting to wonder how smart I really am. And
It's not that, Gary. It's the reason being that what I did in the book, I presented it in a different way than I actually taught it. Okay, so I tried to be as concise as I possibly could in the book, in a more of a educational technical standpoint rather than just talking about it like we do in the meetings. So it's almost like reading it for the first time for everybody.
and it's very, I guess the proper word is condensed.
It is. I
Yeah.
wrote it on an educational level of college, so I tried to anyway. It's more like a college thesis than it is just a novel of conversation. But I had to do it that way to condense all the material in a short enough aspect to put it in each chapter, like I did.
Well, it makes sense because usually a paragraph has one important sentence and the rest of it's explanation.
Yeah.
And in the book, each sentence almost stands alone.
Yeah.
It is you've done well. I'll be honest with you.
Oh,
You show
thanks.
your intellect. You cannot hide behind it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you it is not an easy book to understand.
No, I made it as simple as I possibly could, but I wanted to make it technical enough that all the information's there. And when you start talking about God the Father, it's not easy. It's not easy stuff.
Oh no, I was gonna critique it and just between you and me,
Yeah.
but I found out as I read and thought my critiques weren't valid. So you're doing a good job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate all y'all putting up with me all these years and listening to the different ways I rant and rave about these things. Please go out and listen to the 5 chapters I've done on the Jesus book, on the version where I'm just talking. It's not the dual one. The dual ones are really good. They came out really good. I approached that totally different. But the lecture ones I took straight from what we did in the lecture and tried to condense it into a very short format. and I'm real happy with the way both types come out, but they're setups to appeal to different types of people too. One type of person would like the dual deep dive. One person would like to do, but the other one is something that if you were in a college class or something like that, you would enjoy just the talking. It's just me talking all the way through it, and I try to throw some slides in there to make it interesting, but only so much I can do with each one. But I hope y'all enjoy it. Y'all can go out and listen to them one at a time. And the ones with me lecturing are going to have my little picture in the corner. I put it in one today, and I'm going to go back and do it in the first four too. So the one with my picture on it will be the lecture ones, and the other ones are the dual deep dive with two different people.
So you
Doctor, I've got a class, so I'm going to say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay.
Good night.
Are you going to start selling your autograph now or not? Or?
No. I don't have the big head. Sorry.
Good night, guys.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Thanks
all.
for coming.
Good night, all. Thank you.
Bye-bye.